This is the most common mistake, even all the way through advanced pilots in collapse recovery. Do you know what it is? Today, I'm going to review this video from YouTube to show you exactly what it is that you need to avoid in collapse recovery so that you can fly away without a problem. Ready? Here we go. I'm an elite paraglider with over 3,000 flight hours and multiple distance records, founder of the Paragliding Men's Group, where great pilots transform into greater men, partners, and fathers. Mastery in the sky begins with owning our shit on the ground, so if you're a man who wants it all, welcome home. What's up, guys? This is Ari in the Air. Welcome back to the channel. Stoked you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that is the most common reason that beginner, intermediate, and even advanced pilots end up throwing their reserve or worse after collapses. It's not the collapse that's the problem, all right? It's what happens right after that. So let's get right into this. Okay, here we are. This looks like the Alps to me. The guy's flying a Phi Maestro Range X Alps harness, and he's going to take a collapse here. Let's watch it one time, and then I'll walk you through exactly what happens so that you can learn. They collapse. What's going on? Glider's not recovering. Glider's not recovering. Glider's not recovering. In a sat, what's happening? What's happening? Glider shoots. Finally, it's recovered. Okay, how long would you like your collapse incident to take? Would you like to lengthen your collapse and just like fight your glider for a while? Because the most common mistake that beginner, intermediate, and even advanced pilots make in collapse recovery is, ready? Overhandling. You're pulling too much brake. He's pulling too much brake. If you are flying a B glider or below, when your glider collapses, 98% of the time, the correct response is hands up, all the way to the brake pulleys. Not a little bit of active piloting and not stalling the glider, but actually hands all the way up, giving it as much brake as it possibly can. What happens here? Okay, watch. Collapse. Correct response right here. This is a Phi Maestro. These things are incredible in their recovery, just on their own. Put your hands all the way up here. Nothing is going to happen. Okay. It horseshoes a little bit right here. That's not even going to be a problem either. It might come out with a little tiny cravat, but that's not a problem. Put your hands up. What happens? Scrubbing back. Here we go. Collapse. Watch the tail, the tail fabric. Look at how much brake on both hands. So the pilot has now stalled the glider. Okay? Because as it comes out right here, look at the tail fabric. It's stalled. Look at the left wing is going backwards. The left wing is in tail slide. The right side is now cravated just a little bit. It's not a huge problem. But now the glider is stalled. You see how this glider keeps going back and forth, yaw? So it's like yawing. That's because the glider is in a configuration called deep stall. In deep stall, the glider becomes very yaw unstable. This is how helicopters start. So he is pulling a ton of brake. Watch the tail fabric here. You can tell that he's still pulling a ton of brake because the tail fabric is pulled. You see wingtips curled back in tail slide. The glider is still stalled. Okay, so now what happens? Now the right wingtip is low, and he's actually going to give it a little bit of brake so that the right side flies and the left side is still stalled, which gives us a sat. So you see the high wingtip here is curling back, still a ton of brake being pulled. The right side much less, and it's inflated and it's flying. It gives it a sat configuration, okay? So now we're doing a sat. Now his feet are above his head. Look at where his brakes are. He's got his brakes at the carabiners, which at this point, as the glider builds up speed, is enough for it to shoot. He relents off of the brake, and the glider finally shoots. Okay, so to review, I would say that the entire episode could have been resolved simply by putting his hands up immediately at inception of the collapse, right when the glider collapses. Put his hands all the way up. Maybe pull your feet under you. That's something that I tend to do when I take a big collapse. But first things first, get off the speed bar if you're on it. Get your eyes on the glider and get your hands up. Okay, that's not what happens here. The glider stalls, deep stall, deep stall, deep stall, sat, and shoot. Okay, it's just you're going to shit your pants more than you need to here, brother. Go ahead. If you're going to fly a B glider, then trust the glider, okay? If you want to fly a high-end E&D race glider, a CCC glider, then you're going to have to trust your instincts and trust your hands a lot more because you're going to have to do more to make the glider deal with collapses. But in the B class, man, So much of this is just go hands up, let the glider deal with its initial reinflation first. If it comes out with a big cravat, then go back a couple videos for me. You'll see don't let the glider turn you, don't let the glider turn you, don't let the glider turn you. Weight shift the flying side, get control of the heading of the glider, all of those things. These are all fundamentals, okay? So to summarize here, the most common mistake that beginners and intermediates are making is overhandling the glider in the collapse recovery, okay? For the most part, flying a B, put your hands up, control the heading of the glider. That's your next input, okay? Or catch the surge of the glider. Hands up, catch the surge, control the heading. That's your mantra. I hope this is useful to you. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the pilot involved for sharing this video with us so that we could learn from it. If you want to fly safe and live a huge life, then subscribe. I run the Paragliding Men's Group, where great pilots become even better husbands, fathers, friends, and more authentic versions of themselves. And we would love to have you. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next episode.